Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Content Workshop, where we talk about content in depth. Today, I am joined by Semtexable. Semtexable is a video editor, a storyteller, a content manager for a multitude of individual brands within esports. And today, he is joining us to give him his background. How you doing today, man?
I'm really good, man. How are you?
Pretty well, pretty well. I'm having a good day so far. I've been watching the Call of Duty matches and some League of Legends matches for the most part, but pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I guess the first and easiest prompt is just go ahead and introduce yourself, give a little bit of your background and what you think the listeners might want to know, and we'll go from there.
Right. So my name is Semtexable, and I'm a video editor for mostly known for Scump and Clayster. Clayster was a new one that I picked up this year. I've worked for Scump for about a year now, a little over a year. We started around Black Ops 4, and I've worked for a couple of other big names that people would recognize very easily, like Hitch and Karma.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but I work for a bunch of other people as well, like Tupac and Rallied and just a bunch of people.
Yeah. Your Twitter bio. I'm sure your characters are probably gone, but how many people that
Yeah,
you have
I
under you?
couldn't. Everybody's like, "Yo, I want you to like be my editor." I'm like, dude, I can't fit everybody. Like,
Yeah, I know it's got to be unreal.
yeah.
But kind of dialing it back before you had all these big, heavy hitter names under your, portfolio. What made you originally start getting into video editing and got you interested into doing it as a career choice?
So it was actually I was like just like every other kid
Mm-hmm.
in like Call of Duty esports. They wanted to have like the dream of going pro,
Yeah.
or just making some sort of career in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I knew I wasn't gonna go pro. Like I was like, listen, it's just the reality. I'm not good. I don't have that drive. I just like I don't know. Like I was good, but not good enough to go pro. So I was like, what could I do?
Mm-hmm.
And I one day, how did it happen? Oh yeah, I think I told Embo. I tweeted at Embo's. I was like, you have the funniest laugh I've ever heard. Someone should do a laugh taj on you, or I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I should do a laugh taj on you, and he quoted it and said, "Do it." And I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna do it now. So I
Mm-hmm.
did an Embo's laugh taj, and does it like those videos don't take a long time to edit. It was like I downloaded Sony Vegas, and it was just like simple like cut and edit, like
Mm-hmm.
pretty pretty easy. And so I did that, and that got a lot of attention. He actually messaged me and like posted it to his channel. Then I did one of Maniac. Then I did like pretty much every Optic member,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just compiled them into one video, and then that kind of just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was known as like the Laftage guy and the funny moments guy. And I did that for about like 2 years. And then whenever Optic moved to like Texas, like there was really not much content you could make
Mm-hmm.
out of just like what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I don't know what to do. So I kind of like took like a break, I guess, and I just did like other projects for other people. And then the Optic Call of Duty roster broke up, the Dynasty roster,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, well this is a perfect time to capitalize. And like I messed around with a video. I was actually watching Kingdom Soldier. Shout out to him. He's a beast though.
Okay.
But I was watching him, and he's like, I want somebody to do like a tribute of what like that roster did for like the Call of Duty scene,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of like sparked a really like big motivation and drive. I was like, that's what I need to hop on now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, and I made like a quick little video, and it was still on Sony Vegas. And like me personally, Sony Vegas is more of like a beginner type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
like
It's
obviously,
intuitive. It's easy to use.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like compared to like Premiere. So I just was like, I'll see what I can do, and I made one off of Sony Vegas, and I uploaded it. I went to bed, and I wake up, and it's at like 60,000 views, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, what did I do?
Yeah.
And like the video, like looking back, was very like it wasn't edited very much at all. Like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't very good compared to what I could do now. It was like it's hard to watch it, but it's just one of those things where you just gotta like appreciate, and everybody like I was like the first person to do that, and like Dexerto made like an article about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hitch threw it in Vision, and like for like the intro of like that big episode where like the team broke up.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tweeted me and was like, "This isn't my video. This isn't Vision. This is some Textable's video."
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the first like big part of like recognition that I've got, and it just like that kind of like just blew up from there, and I just started doing like montages of like Karma and Scump and Crim and just like the entire roster, and I like just really milked it as much as you could, you
Mhm.
know, but, like, simply because I had so many good ideas, not because, like, "Oh, personal gain," you know? Sure, that
Yeah.
was cool, but it was, like, I was really having fun with it,
Mhm.
and I, like, got Premiere and, like, that Karma video was, like, I got Premiere that night, and I made that Karma video that night, and that was probably my favorite video, simply
Mhm.
because it was my first time ever using the, the program, and I just I just went with it, and it just, like, was such a good video, and it got recognized by so many people, and that video is how I started working for Karma for a little bit,
Mhm.
and that's just, like, it really that one blew up too. Dexerto made, like, 4 or 5 articles, like, that month, and I was like I just couldn't believe it, like, I'd wake up,
Yeah.
see articles and pros tweeting me and following me, and it was just, like, every day was just amazing, and then from there, like, after that month in, like, May, I did everything I could so quick, I
Mhm.
had, like, nothing to do. I was like, "Now what?" You know?
Yeah.
So I was kinda short on content for a little bit, and, I wasn't sure what to do, like, I joined a couple of organizations and did, like, Fortnite videos, and I just was like, it's not what
Not as
I like
interesting to you.
doing."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like, I there wasn't a story to tell, and I like telling stories in videos.
Mhm.
I didn't have one, so I was like, Fortnite's just, like, not really it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and then around, Black Ops 4, around right before that dropped, um, Scump was streaming, he was streaming BO3, and it
Mhm.
was, like, his first stream back, and he didn't tweet, he said on his stream, he was like, "I'm looking for, like, an editor or, like, a content manager or something for my YouTube channel." He was
Mhm.
like, "'Cause it's a lot of work to stream and do videos at the same time." And so he had, like, all these people donating, saying, like, "Oh, I have a degree in this, I can do this." He's like, "Guys, it's just simple editing, like, you don't have to have a degree or, like, none of that." Like,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's a simple cut, split, and keep going, and I was like, "Well, I've already worked with, like, 2 of his, like, good friends." I've worked with Hitch and Karma, because a
Yeah.
little bit before that, I worked with Hitch for, like, a month and a half, but, it was, like, a video every other couple days, so it wasn't, like, a whole lot,
Mhm.
but so I had experience with Hitch and Karma, and so I was like, "Well, I'll just tweet him and see where it goes," and he saw it instantly, and, like, he was like, "Ooh, some text. Well, I'm actually, like, really, really into doing that," and so I was like, "Okay," and, he was like, "I followed you back," and I didn't even know because when he said my name, like, the entire Twitch chat was just lighting up red because everybody knew me. I was like,
Mhm.
"How," like, I was like, That's just crazy," and then,
Yeah.
a bunch of, like, tweets and, like, follows and likes came in all at once, and I didn't see that he followed me.
Mhm.
So I was like, "This is just crazy," and so I messaged him, and then about a week later, because he was in Vegas, he was like, he's like, "Yo, are you actually down to be my editor?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Of course. Like, I can grind. I can do as many videos a day as you
Mhm.
want. I can do any type of video. Just let me know." And he was like, "Okay, perfect." So he asked me a couple of questions about what I'm capable of doing, like in
Mhm.
terms of like what his content would uh be. And so
Mm.
I told him everything I could do. He was like, "Can you do thumbnails? Can you do editing?" I was like, "Yes, I can do all of them." Like he's like, "Okay," because I don't want to have to hire like he
Separate
wasn't
guys.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know if he had to hire like another like a graphics designer or whatever. And like
Mhm.
thumbnails, like my thumbnails were not good at the time, and I definitely progressed a lot,
Mhm.
but, I still got a lot of work to do, but yeah, so I was like, "I can do thumbnails that will, like, catch an eye."
Mhm.
So, yeah, we started there, and Black Ops 4 dropped, like, 4 days into it. We started uploading, and we just uploaded every day. We didn't miss a video for, like, 2 months, which
Mhm.
I think that's the best on his channel so far.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm pretty proud of that one. I mean, that was a big year
Mhm.
that opened, like, a lot of, doors for me. It was, a lot easier to get other creators' eye. If they, like, look at your bio, they see you work for the face of esports pretty much.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like I don't know, it's like, how do you not consider, like, that person as, like, an editor? So that opened a lot of doors and opportunities for me
Mhm.
going into, like, expanding my work 'cause I was just working for just Scump at one point, and now I have, like, 6 other guys that I, like, had,
Yeah.
like, lined up, and some of them were still trying to get, like, still trying to get their channel, like, monetized and trying to get me on there as, like a manager and stuff like that
Mhm.
so I can just upload the videos for them because it's a lot easier, just takes a
Yeah.
lot of weight off their shoulders, so I mean, yeah, that's really how I got like my start, and that's kind of what drove me to like do what I'm doing. And I didn't think it would ever be a full-time thing, and for a while it was a
Mhm.
full-time thing, but then like whenever creators start taking breaks, it's kind of like, yeah, it's not going to be a full-time, but
Mhm.
it does take a lot of your time. Like it definitely does.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that. And it's two couple things to take away from the story you just gave is one, like you didn't sit on your ass during the time where you were being successful. Like a lot of people could just like try to rake in followers or go over their own personal brands or like grow that side of things, but you didn't really care about that, which I think something anyone's listening to needs to take note of as far as how to act when you do get that type of success. And then like you just said, which I was going to ask, I'm glad you brought up at the very end, is like even though it is a full-time job, you have to continuously like try to improve, expand your clientele because you're at like not in a bad way. It's just you're at the mercy of their own pace. Like you can't make Scump upload a video. You can't make Karma upload a video. Whoever rallied, like you're kind of on their own pace or program, um, which constantly means you have to keep evolving your own like business plan, so to speak.
Yeah, and like to keep like a solid income, like because Scump obviously took a break in Black Ops 4, and that
Mm-hmm.
was just nothing up until the game dropped. Like I met him in Anaheim and stuff like that, and that was
Mm-hmm.
cool. Um, but yeah, like there just wasn't anything like you're like this. My job and how I get paid is
Mm-hmm.
strictly on if they reply.
Yeah.
That you can't really take into full time, but you gotta take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because like yeah, it's hard going on other people's time, and it's not contracted work either. So
Mm-hmm.
they could just like completely black like just back out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like if you're cool with them and you're just like I don't know, like sometimes you're not gonna get paid on time, and that's just
Mm-hmm.
how it is. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're not gonna get paid at all because of how busy they are and like they just don't respond. It's like
Mm-hmm.
hard to get hold of them. So it's really something like if you do try doing this full time,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta make sure like if you're living off this, you gotta make sure that they pay.
Yeah, that too. And I don't know if you can give your opinion on this, but have you tried to supplement like those gaps with like your own, I guess, like projects that you want to work on, or have you really just been focusing on the management side and piece and trying to get better at like like explaining and telling other people's stories and content?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about doing like my own projects
Mm-hmm.
and like I mean, as much as I miss doing those, like I mean that those are kind of in the past,
Mm-hmm.
like those are
Yeah.
never going to be as big as they once were
Mm-hmm.
because of what was going on that made them so important. Like
Mm-hmm.
the T2P video that I made, like the time to part video where Scump and Formal like broke up,
Yeah.
that video was just like the story behind it is what made it good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the editing and all that was like it was okay, but it's
Yeah.
mainly like the story behind it. And so I was like I've done like I did a project for Clayster. I did the 1400 days
Yeah.
video
That
for
I
him.
watched that. That was a good one. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Yeah, so like I did that and I like doing projects like that as long as there's a story to tell and there's meaning behind it, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it. But if there's like no meaning, it's like hard to like really be like, yeah, I'll do this, but it's like I don't know. I just like having videos that matter.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. I think also like just in the whole essence of docu series and like culminating videos and stuff like that. I'd say 4 or 5 years ago that wasn't as prevalent as it is now. Like a couple years ago, only a few people were in the scene were doing that. Like not many people were doing that. Optic was doing. That's why Optic got so, along with other things. That's one reason they rose so quickly is because no one else was doing that. Now, like, I mean, even the Call of Duty League, the Rocker, the Surge, Optic, Huntsman, all of them are putting out their own docuseries, so it's more like
Yeah.
normal. So your ability to stand out's even harder. Like and like you said, it has to have that context and that story behind it in order to stay prevalent and like popular, basically.
Yeah, and I feel like after starting like videos with like working for YouTubers, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel like I fell under that category as just the YouTube editor. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for I feel like it's a little bit harder for organizations to look at me as like a documentary cinematic type, but that's really what I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like gaming videos is really not where like I like show my full potential. And
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted about it not too long ago. I was like I just can't show my full potential in just gaming videos. Like
Mhm.
I don't know, like I just
No, I think
it's hard. Like
it goes back to like what your passion of doing something is, especially like yeah, you probably could just do generic YouTube edits, but like in a couple years you would be burnt out as hell and you'd be like, I don't even
yeah,
want to do this anymore. And it'll probably just kill your like drive to even edit, to be honest. And one thing I think, and this is, there's obviously multiple factors of why you're good at what you do when it comes to docuseries, and something that caught my eye and the reason I reached out to you initially is like, for me, like this is like a total like fan's opinion, like the way you score music with, I think is another thing that I think people need to notice and talk about, like, and how you incorporate the music into your edits is like not very many people do what you do in that aspect. And I think that also helps to tell the story because music drives an emotion, along with the edits and the story and all of it culminating together. Not a lot of people can put all of that in one place. So yeah, you got to stick to what you're good at, B, what you want to do, because in this kind of world, when you're editing and sitting at a computer for 10 hours a day, if you don't love what you're doing, then it's gonna suck very quickly.
yeah, because those types of videos they do take a really long time. Like
Mm-hmm.
during that whole month of May, whenever like I would wake up, make a video, go to sleep, and have it ready to upload by 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I wake up, I would already start the next video, and then like that entire day, I would just do like nothing but research. The next
Mm-hmm.
day, I edit that video and then upload it, and that's just what I did. And it was just a constant grind. And I've never grinded videos so hard like that because
Mm-hmm.
they took so long to make. And like finding like music that was like the hardest part of it is
Mm-hmm.
because you like I would like try to have people help me. Like they'd be like, "Yo, can I help you? Like try to find music." I'm like, "Sure." And it's just like it's something that like as an editor, you'll know it when you hear it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not like look up this. It's like I don't know. Like I just once I hear it, I'll know.
Yeah.
And it's like certain like notes in a song. If you put a certain like a clip, maybe like say Hex whenever he was walking onto the stage at COD Champs 2017. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like he put his hands up in the air like he was pointing up to God and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You put like certain songs and certain notes there, that can just make it so much more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And if you slow it down, like I feel like that's just like the slowed down clips are like the really meaningful clips.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the clips in my videos that I make are slowed, there's really some deep meaning behind it. You kind of got to think really hard. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're just like a casual fan, you probably won't get it. But like, and I've had to explain a lot of the clips to people
Mm-hmm.
as to like why it's like so powerful. And it's just like in the T2P video, uh, at Champs 2016, Formo looked at the camera and it says it's over in the song. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's over, and it's just like I don't know, like I couldn't piece that together any better. Like it
Mm-hmm.
just was like that's just perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he looked at the camera and like smiled and it was like it's over. You know, it's like he's happy now. He's doing his thing, and he just wasn't happy with his current team. There was a lot of meaning behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people overlook that in videos, especially if you're not an editor. I feel like editors might catch it a little bit easier, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm just crazy. It
No,
could be that, but
I think it's both ways. I think some people do overlook it, but I also think, and I've had this happen to me before, where I've had guys that like did the piece they explained to me later. Is like you'll watch something, you'll be like, I don't know what it was about that video, but it stuck to me way more than anything else has, and I have no idea why. And it's because I think that's what it is. Like music artists that write songs really, really well, people are like, I don't know why I like that song so much. Well, the person who wrote the song knows why you do, because
yeah,
there's a deeper meaning behind it, and there's an emotion tied to it that you don't even understand, but it still ties to you. So I think it's half and half. Half people it does just overlook it, and then half people honestly don't even know why it's attached to them, but that's the reasoning. They just haven't figured it out yet, to be honest.
yeah, like that type of music is like for those videos that I made, it was just sick, and it just complemented every video perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of ran out of those types of songs for
Mm-hmm.
videos, and that's another reason why like making those types of montages again just like you just don't feel the same when you find like songs now. Like those like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like all those producers are catering more to like the rapping side
Mm-hmm.
and not really just like a an instrumental like to listen to, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
just more something to like create your own music to now. So that's why in Clayster's video I took a little bit of a different direction than
Mm-hmm.
what everybody's used to seeing. Like if my name was not at the end of that, you would not know I made that video.
Yeah.
It was a completely different me compared to what I did 8 months prior.
Mhm.
And I was, like, really proud of that, and, like, I spent a couple of weeks on that. I spent about a week on that video.
Mhm.
Clayster thought it would take, like, 3 weeks, and I was like, "No. No, I grind. Like, I'm
Yeah.
getting this video, like, this week, you'll have it, you can upload it. Just let me know what you want changed, I'll send you, like, test files, and we can change stuff around," and we changed a lot.
Mhm.
So, yeah, um, I just, went a different direction with the music, but,
Mhm.
like, at the end of that video, the sad music just fit better than anything I could have possibly found.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I don't know, it was just a perfect I think Kingdom Soldier even tweeted me just recently, like, that music and that video was just molded together so perfectly.
Mhm.
Nobody could have told a better story, and I
Yeah.
completely agree. I don't think anybody could tell a better story with what they had.
Mhm.
Like, maybe they could, but, like, that's probably about as good as you could really get in terms of, like, everything down the line of, like, emotion, you know, just, like, seeing, like, what all he accomplished, telling a story, just
Mhm.
everything, like, just compiled together, that's it. Like, I was, like, so proud of that, and I was, like, I don't know if everybody else is gonna look at this video the same as me,
Mhm.
because I thought, like, this will be, like, a pretty heavy hitter, and a lot of people were like, "This reminds me of, like, Scump's old montages. I love this. This is amazing." Like, the product people thought it was United's production team doing it. I was like, "Dude, it was literally just me."
Mhm.
Like, that felt really good to see that. I was like, I'm glad that my production kind of resembles, like, a full organization's production.
Yeah, and your production to me resembles more of like you think of brands that drive stories, not products. So like Nike is a good example of that. Apple's a good example of that. Like all their commercials, all their content pieces they put out, they don't talk about their product one time. They like tie it to an emotion or tie it to a story, whether it's something as serious as Colin Kaepernick or it's something as as kind of like fun as like an Apple commercial where the guy's just dancing all through the freaking doing all types of edits and stuff. Like everything they never once are like the main focus is their product. The main focus is the story and like the evolution of where they got to where they're at basically. And I think that's one thing that you do that I haven't seen, at least in my personal experience. I'm sure others out there that are talented in that way too, but that I haven't seen do it in the way you do it. Hitch obviously did a little bit with vision, or he did do it a lot with vision, but there's not very many editors I think in a scene now that focus on true storytelling. They just focus on like A to B or edits, which is fine. They're doing what they need to
Yeah.
do. There's no issues with that, but it gives you a uniqueness that other people don't have basically.
Yeah, and I got a lot of my style started from Hitch because I was like, "What else?" Like, I don't really know, like,
Mhm.
because I wanted to do my whole idea with those montages
Mhm.
were to make it seem like you were watching Vision,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you click out of the video and you're watching Semtexable.
Mhm.
It's like, "What? I thought this was Vision." Kinda pull you into that feeling because like, Vision had a different type of feel when you watched it compared
Mhm.
to everybody else. Like, nothing came close to what Vision was, and, I was like, I wanna try to, like, resemble, like, that same type of feeling
Mhm.
when people watch these videos, and, I feel like I did a pretty good job at that, especially for being, like that was, like, my first time actually taking editing anywhere close to serious,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, I got a lot of my, like, inspiration from Hitch because I mean, I just looked up to him a lot, and, him and Revitalize, I watched those guys, like, pretty
Mhm.
much growing up in the COD scene, like, you'd watch their videos, and that's really where I got my, like, inspiration from, so,
Mhm.
I mean, it was really good. I took a lot from them, and then I kinda, like eventually, when I found what I wanted to do, I took it and just made my own twist to it, really, and just
Mhm.
added what I think would be good, and I, like, started learning, like, After Effects, and, like, that's the thing is, like, you gotta, like, keep up, and you gotta be so far ahead if you really wanna, like, tell, like, an actual story, not just A to B
Mhm.
video. Like, you gotta be so far ahead of everybody else in terms of, like, your storytelling, capturing all the emotions,
Mhm.
and, like, you know, just production in general with, like, After Effects and Premiere, like, you always gotta keep learning, like,
Yeah,
and
that was one question I was
yeah.
gonna ask you is when it comes to like After Effects, when it comes to the technical, like we've been talking a lot about the like intangible side of things, right? With the ability to tell a story, but also with the technical side of things, like what has been your way since you started of just honing in, getting better at Premiere, getting better at learning like all the things? Like, has it been classes, YouTube, just talking to other editors? Like, what has been your approach to trying to get ahead, so to speak?
I've never talked to editors because I didn't want them to think I'm trying to steal their style
Yeah.
or, because I feel like editors look at it like that, and I don't really talk to anybody like that. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
cool with Revitalize, but we don't really talk. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
it's like I somebody in Optic last year
Mm-hmm.
DM me this thing. They're like, hey, I see you're just now learning After Effects. You can take this and like it's like an online course pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of it I do on YouTube. Like it's anything you really need to know, you can find on YouTube.
Yeah.
And but like there's like a class for like $5 a month that you could take, and I
Mm-hmm.
did like the first like 4 or 5 like solid courses, like 3 pages,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, so I took that, and that's how I made I took everything that I learned from that went into Clayster's.
Okay.
That like all that went into Clayster's video, like, and every bit of text on his video was straight from After Effects. None of that was on Premiere. That was every like text was in After Effects. The 1400, how it pans and like zooms into him holding the trophy,
Mm-hmm.
that was literally After Effects. None of that was on Premiere. I don't know if you can do that on Premiere. From my understanding, I don't think you can, but you might. So I just knew like the easiest way to do it was After Effects. So that's just what I did. I was like, if you want to stay ahead, you got to learn different programs, and I want to start learning like Cinema 4D and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of not really for videos, but just making like better thumbnails and more like animated thumbnails, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but it just like After Effects and all that, I just like took like an online course and just a bunch of tutorial videos and just yeah, just try to make everything better. Every video has to be better than the last, is how I look
Yeah.
at it.
No, I give a lot of respect to people like you who do that because I'm telling you right now, like I've only done like basic level stuff with Vegas and like other stuff. I'm just learning, but like you're sitting there and you're trying to upload a video, you're trying to edit a video, and you're also trying to learn at the same time, and it's so frustrating because you're, to me at least, like I'm very patient, but I'm also a perfectionist. So like when I mess up something in the program, I'm like like I just want to keep
Yeah.
going. You know what I mean? So you're like, I want to learn, but also want to finish this freaking video. Like, and it just that's got to be. I know you want to stay like as cool as possible, but it's got to be. I'm sure there's been times where you're just like, "F this!" Like this is so annoying to figure
Yeah.
out overall. But another thing that I want to talk about was your approach with individual creators versus like docu-series, and like we went over a little bit. You said like you're kind of at not at the mercy, but you're kind of they have to reply, and sometimes payments a little bit weird, which is understandable. But what is your approach when dealing with Scump or with dealing with Rallied or whoever, and you're like, what are some of the things you ask individual creators of like what they're looking for to help best put out the best possible product yourself?
I really see what they want to do
Mm-hmm.
because at the end it's their content, and I like, even though I do most of the work,
Mm-hmm.
I really still want them to be happy with their videos and not seem like somebody else is running this channel. It isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be happy with the videos. So like Scump, he was supposed to get back into like live comms and stuff, but then he got busy with like Minnesota and then London. Like all the events are just so close together.
Yeah, this
We
year
just
it's
haven't
gonna
really
be
talked
crazy.
in a couple of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I understand because he's pretty busy, and so it's like I don't hold him against it or anything. Like sometimes it gets frustrating because it's like you want to like keep making content and keep moving forward, but it's like you gotta understand they're a competitor first and then
Mm-hmm.
content second, and so you kind of just have to wait in line really.
Mm-hmm.
And I just asked them like, is there anything you want in the video? Um, Anything you want me to take out? And like it's just up to them, like their personal preference, and then I'll do whatever. And then with Rallied, it's like him and I we talk like constantly. We always talk every day, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, just talking about videos and what we can do to grow more and to get better. And same with Tupac as well. Like he's a pretty new creator that I started working with,
Mm-hmm.
but we still talk about like what we gotta do better. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like maybe we could try to make videos a little bit funnier,
Mm-hmm.
like try to cater to that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like we could definitely do that. And so, yeah, it's just whatever they want to do, like I'll do. Like I feel like as an editor, that's kind of like your job. You do what they want.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's not your video, it's not your channel. Like yeah, like you're an editor and you know what would work, but you got to
Mm-hmm.
make sure it's cool with them if they want to do that because it's their video, and like if they don't want it, like silly edited video,
Mhm.
then like you just got to run it by them first and see like what they think,
Mhm.
because you're gonna get like whenever I edited one of Scump's videos, it was like him and Nate Shot playing 2v2 gunfight,
Mhm.
and I added like silly music and camera zoom ins and just like that type of 2020 YouTube style, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, basically.
And there was a lot of complaints. They were like, "I don't like the Disney music. Take it out. It's not the same." They're like, "I'd rather have just a raw video," and I'm like, you can't please everybody at the end
Mhm.
of the day. So
Yeah, with video editors, I've asked a couple because I had Patrick Bruder on here. He works in the 2K league. He's part of the Cleveland Cavaliers 2K league team, and we talked about the same thing where like how do you handle the negative side of things, because some negativity is like there are like true negative points where someone's like, okay, maybe I didn't go out the right way of doing this, but at the same time you want to stick to, as an editor, I get you're trying to go through them, like you want their creation to come to life, but at the same time it's got to be difficult to filter out what negative comments are viable and like, hey, we should listen to these guys, and then what negative comments are just kind of distractions. Like these are just dudes that are freaking. They're always gonna say something about it. Like just keep pushing. It's got to be a little difficult at times.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely comments that like I think about every comment that I see that actually tries to give constructive criticism instead of
Mm-hmm.
just being like this video sucks,
Yeah.
which you don't really find those comments, occasional like, oh, I don't like scum type of comments was
Mm-hmm.
like you can't ever take those seriously.
Yeah.
It's just something to laugh at. But it's just like when like they give pretty good feedback when they're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, I think you guys should do this a little bit better." My personal my like personal opinion, I think it would make the videos a lot more entertaining and fun to watch. And it's like I take those into consideration, and like okay, let's see what I could do for this next video. Because obviously, you think about it with that video, it's easy to imagine it, but the
Mm-hmm.
next video is a little bit harder to imagine it. So I mean, it just depends on like what kind of feedback they give, and like I definitely do
Mm-hmm.
read through comments, and I take a lot of advice from the viewers because I mean, they know what they enjoy, and obviously, like I said, you can't really please everyone, but you just got to do you just got to do what you feel is right. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you feel like that could actually make content better, then you just got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And then moving a little to as far as like I know one of the prompts I gave you was future goals as a creator, and based off how this conversations went, I wanted to ask you. It kind of popped in my head is, and if you want to stay non-committal on this, go ahead. But what is your future like? Do you want to stay working with individual creators? Like, is that a process that you enjoy more, or are you looking towards maybe, one day working with like an actual like tier one professional organization, or like what is like your preferred route, and B, like what do you see yourself doing in the future ideally?
Yeah, I actually been thinking about this a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like a pretty big career choice,
Oh yeah.
kind of like standstill that I'm at right now. It's like I I don't enjoy gaming videos anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just there's only so much you can do with them, and like they're just not like, in my opinion, I can't watch the same like the videos that like we post. Like I just don't enjoy watching gaming videos and
Mm-hmm.
or like editing them now. Like there's no like fun games to edit.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if it's fun to play, I'm sure it's fun to edit, but it's like nothing's really like fun to watch or fun to
Mm-hmm.
play. Like I'm sure like the casual players will be like, "Oh, I love watching gaming. I don't know what you're talking about." But
Yeah.
when you've been doing it for like 4 years, it just gets stale. And it's like I want to work for an organization,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to think like these teams pay $25 million for their spot. You got to be worth at least a percentage of that.
Mm-hmm.
That you got to be worth at least 1 million to at least even be on their scale of like, hey, we could pick up this guy. Like that's how I'm looking at it, and I look at myself like, am I worth $1 million to an organization?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not, because I just feel like these organizations, they already have like these top tier editors that don't really promote themselves, that are kind of behind the scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's just like it's really hard to grow as like an editor now. And even for me, like people are like, "Yo, like, do you have advice for me?" I'm just like, you just got to keep grinding and just improve as much as you can, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
and
it's It's
Yeah,
interesting.
it gets frustrating.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you brought up about editors not being like promoted because like I just had Harris from Phase, like Atlanta Phase, on here, and I'm looking through his socials, like no hit on him whatsoever. I'm just saying like you see when you see someone's name and Phase beside it, it normally is like 20.2K follower, whatever, right? It's like this huge following, and he had like I think he has like a couple of thousand followers, but it's just and his work is awesome, like it's amazing. I'm like, how is this dude not being like recognized more? And I think it's because people are used to like seeing names like Hitch, seeing names like Aaron and all those guys. Like those guys were anomalies as far as like being that much in the spotlight. Like I can't think of another besides like you, Revitalize, Hitch, and maybe a couple other ones. And maybe I'm just not as deep in the editing community as I could be, but those are the ones that there's only like the household name type guys I know. So I totally understand what you're saying from like it could affect your own personal brand too and development as a whole. But yeah, I think one thing though that I was just thinking of is, and I don't know if you agree with this, disagree with this, but one thing you see in like traditional sports is like certain companies do like docu series all the time. Like Netflix has tons of docu series. You have the 30 for 30 on ESPN. You don't really have that in esports, to be honest. Like there's not a company that's doing straight docu series on teams and organizations and esports and stuff like that. So that might be a route as well, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard to bring new ideas to organizations and creators because they're obviously they're gonna be really hesitant about it at
Mm-hmm.
first. Like, I mean, sure, we can try it. They don't seem down for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't want to do it if you're not 100% like committed to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, like growing as like an editor, like I see all these editors. I've like no offense to them. Like I said, they're great editors. They
Mm-hmm.
do amazing work. I just never heard of some of them. I'm like, I don't know where this guy came from. Like I follow them and I like keep up with them now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know, like these guys are just popping up out of nowhere. It's like it's crazy. So I mean, I definitely think like Revitalize, he could get on an org. I definitely think he has potential too. I think I have potential to get on an org, in my opinion,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you
Um,
do.
Maybe not like Huntsman, like everybody wants. Like everybody's like, "Oh, you need to join Huntsman." I'm like, dude, like I don't think you understand how hard you got to work for that and
Yeah.
how long that's gonna take. But yeah, like maybe not like a CDL organization, but who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a SOAR organization. I don't know, but I really do want to like go along the lines of like a documentary styled like content, I guess, content
Mm-hmm.
path. Like I don't enjoy the gaming videos. Like sure, if gaming's in it, like that's cool, but like
Yeah.
if there's a story to tell, like that's completely different. It's like a completely different look.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there's a story behind it and it could motivate people,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want to do. Like gaming videos, like, oh, I got 108 kills in a hard point. That's not gonna motivate anybody, and that's like just not motivating to watch or edit. Like sure, it makes you kind of want to play, but like
No, I know what you
that's
mean.
that's about as far as it goes. Is that?
I know what you mean, and I 100% agree with you. I think, like I said, I think it will eventually happen because esports is in such its like infancy stage right now. Like, there has been more than enough history to do like outside the lines report type, docu series for certain stuff. But I think as esports matures, you're gonna start seeing that more and more. You're gonna see. I'm just naming off random companies. You're gonna have companies like MLG and Esports Engine and UMG start doing these docu series of like the OWL and CDL and stuff like that, or dynasties. I mean, you think about even like old school dynasties like Final Boss and stuff like that. You could have a docu series on them. Like it doesn't have to be um, anything super recent, but I definitely think there's opportunities. Like I know me and you, for anyone listening, first context is me and him first ever talking to each other. So for
Yeah.
me saying this is for what it's worth, but I think you'll definitely have a spot on somebody. You just worked with too many names. You have too wide of a network. It depends on. I think for you, it's not like if you can go somewhere because I'm 100% sure you can. It's like where do you want to go based off what you want to do, right? Because I think right now easily you could get any video editing. You could get a video editing job at a top tier organization just doing casual edits, but that's not what you want to do. And I think that's what's slowing things down. To be honest.
Yeah, and I've had like a really good idea, and I'll share it because it's like if it happens, I want credit in the video, even if I'm not the one doing it,
Yeah.
whatever. But like the CDL could be so much bigger if they did their own documentary series of
Mhm.
them setting up events, what it takes, like, just to show the fans and everybody, like, what they gotta do to do it,
Mhm.
like, get these teams flown out, because obviously the CDL is gonna be looking at roster changes and stuff too. They're like, "Oh, well, this team's gonna be making a change." So and I don't know, like, how much they have to do with it. I'm sure, like, they run contracts too.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it could just be, like, the amount of stories that could be told from that we have, like, it's unimaginable what they talk about and what
Mhm.
stories they have. Like, it could literally blow people's minds, I think, if they had, like, a show of them, you know, setting up events and, like, contacting teams or teams saying, like, "Hey, maybe in the future, like, what if this happens?" Like, a team wants to back out of the CDL and another one wants to get in, but what they gotta do to get in, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
the contract issues and stuff like that, or maybe players leaving, like, there's just, like, so many things you
Mhm.
could really tell a story, but it's hard to, like, say, but in my mind, it's just that I feel like is $1,000,000 idea.
Yeah, if
It's
it's
just, like, it's hard to bring it across somebody that's
Mhm.
so high up, and they're like, "Who are you? Like, what's your, credibility?" And it's like, "Oh, Scump," but it's like, that's not really, I don't think that's something that CDL teams and, like, organizations are like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we want you," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, just because like, his videos are not, like, documentary style, they're more of, like, gameplay, like, "Yo, yo, yo," type of videos, so
Mhm. No, but for you, I mean, personally, in my opinion, you already have the portfolio you need. Like, obviously, you can always get more experience, more like reps and stuff like that. But I mean, I could pick out 3 or 4 videos on your YouTube channel that are more than enough for a portfolio. And I agree with you. Like, even back in the MLG days, like, can you imagine if someone did a docuseries on Adam? I never can say his name correctly, Adam Akamsela, and like his start from like the first ever MLG event till when he eventually left. Like, there's
yeah.
so many stories and backgrounds that people probably would want to know and would be extremely interested in hearing that it would just be unreal. Like, that's like almost unlimited content. It's like 8+ years of freaking content that you could, roll out basically. Um,
Yeah, and I feel like that would get a lot of respect from other esports and
mm,
other esports fans.
mm-hmm,
I don't know, just like obviously they're all in the same business at the end of the day and they know what it takes, but
yeah,
I feel like the fans obviously like everybody kind of looks at COD as like COD esports, like it's its own thing and it forever will be in the world of esports. I don't think so. But the casual viewers, they'll always like poke fun at it,
mm,
because it's console, like and there's like all types of like PC esports, like you got like Rainbow Six, you got CS, you got Overwatch. Those are all on PC, and then everybody's just like, oh, console esports. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, but I don't see like the fuss behind that, But I feel like that like those styled videos could get a lot of respect
mm.
from like other like esports and other esports fans as well. So I don't know. That's just my opinion
No,
on it.
I agree with you. And I think it also would alleviate some of the hate they get sometimes with production stuff. Like when stuff goes wrong, like most of your casual viewer doesn't understand how much goes into those freaking streams and those like it's multi-million-dollar productions with 100 moving people. And so people are just always like, oh, NA production, lol, or whatever that freaking stupid face is. But if they had
Yeah.
seen like the background behind that, they'd be like, chill, guys. Like, we know what they're doing. Like, I think like it would just make the community a little bit smarter as a whole, too, as far as like everything that goes into making an event, basically.
Yeah, and like fans always be like, "Oh, like NA production," but it's like you're gonna have problems. Like it's just how technology is. Like nothing will be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a perfect weekend, that's probably the one time it will happen the entire year. Good luck having that happen again, because perfect production is really hard to come by. Because there's just things that you can't control that will mess up,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you gotta change like bit rates on some things, or like you just never know. And like you said, those guys work really hard and they have a ton of people doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, like I like as like an editor, I respect I honestly think the CDL has made a huge production like their production value has gone up a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, of course they're gonna have issues, but like let's be real, for this, like it's pretty good right now, and I don't think there's a whole lot to complain about. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're gonna find flaws and they'll fix them, but it's their second event, and it's like 2 weeks apart. Like there's like as a production team, it's kind of hard to like fix those issues in just 2 weeks.
No, you're
Because
not. I mean, you're
yeah,
technically not going to fix anything big. You're just going to
yeah,
fix like little stuff, like how we move something from point A to point B. But as far as
yeah,
like macro production decisions, you're not fixing that. That's going to be fixed in the off season or whenever
yeah.
like mid season break is. So yeah, hopefully the community will get a little bit smarter on how things are actually going on. To your idea, I think that is a good idea, to be honest, for what it's worth, and hopefully someone will catch on. I think if you approach the right enough people, someone would eventually catch on. Um, but moving into a little bit as far as talking about consumers and talking about people that watch content, maybe if someone wanted to get in video editing or something like that, storytelling, I know you said a little bit earlier it's just grind it out, and I feel like that's obviously a universal piece of advice. Like the harder you work, the better it's going to be. But for you, like, what is some things that you wish Semtexable, like when you first started, knew that now? Like things you wish you had known back then when you were first making those laugh-tage videos and stuff like that.
Um, I would tell myself, you know, like what, like if I was doing like those laugh videos, like if I could talk to myself, I'd be um, like just try harder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like these videos are good and they're getting attention and people like them, but you gotta try harder and you like I could be farther if I really took those videos a different route maybe. I don't know how different they could be.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody like trying to get into it, it's like you got like whenever I make those types of videos, I listen to one song that I'm gonna start the video with, and I
Mm-hmm.
just sit there and I like close my eyes and I just sit there and think, how do I want this to be told?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do I want to be shown first? Like, out of everything you can find, and maybe you can't even find some things,
Mm-hmm.
but you could have a good idea at that
Yeah.
point. There's certain clips, like with the Clayster video, I sat there and closed my eyes and listened to the intro song for like 3 hours. Like, just sat there, and I had nothing on my timeline at all. I was just thinking of how do I want to piece this together? How
Mm-hmm.
do I want to tell this story? Because once you can put it in your head, you can put it on the program. You can put it in the timeline and you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just got to do what you know how to do and then maybe step out of your comfort zone and be like, and then add this effect, which something like maybe you don't know how to do. But you
Mm-hmm.
can look it up and you like, sure, it's a practice run. You like until you're comfortable with it and you're like, oh, that's it. Like you just know.
Mm-hmm.
And so just start on an editing program that's easy to learn like Sony Vegas and then just work your way up to maybe Premiere or whatever you're really comfortable on. It's personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
Just tap into your inner creative and like I didn't know I had it. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I think
It
a
was
lot of
kind of
people that are
something that you
creative don't know they
feel out
have
of
it.
emotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just feel it out of emotion and it's just like it's I don't know, it's unexplainable. Like I'd sit there with my head down on my desk thinking of how I want this video to go and then I just put my head up and I just start working nonstop. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, I mean just make sure you know what you want to do. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, sure you can take ideas from other videos, but add your own twist to it and make sure it's not completely the exact same.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing, and I think also kind of pointing back to what you just said is like yes, work hard, but also be patient. Like don't like like how what's the word for it? Don't not sacrifice. I can't think of the word. Anyway, like don't sell yourself short. Basically, don't
Yeah.
like just say like oh this is good enough and just go with it. Like you said, sitting there for 3 hours. Some people are like, are you serious? But people
Yeah.
don't understand like the difference that can make. I mean, as long as you're hitting your deadlines, you're actually producing work. It's not as big as you think or as big of a deal as you think. And I think a lot of people, especially in video editing, maybe feel a time crunch or maybe have like writer's block. I guess is the best way to put it, and then they just kind of settle instead of just staying true to what they want to do. And through this whole conversation, it seems like to me that you're 100% staying true to what you want to do, and I think a lot of people can take a lot away from that. Like, don't just take the easy route; take the route that you want to take, so to speak.
Yeah, like as much as I love gaming and stuff like that, I can't tell you if at the end of the year I'll still be doing what I'm doing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know where I'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really don't. I don't know if I'll still be like the editor that everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Like everything can change and you just got to try to keep evolving and if you can't keep up, don't get yourself down because I get myself down at times, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just work at your own pace, don't worry about what other people do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make sure you're happy with the content you're making and make sure it's good quality. As long as the quality is there,
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest step. Make sure the quality is there because in a lot of my videos, clips are like super low quality and it's just like for me, I can't watch those. But like those are the only other clips you can find. Like
Yeah.
in terms of like video quality, like the quality of the overall video,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be proud of and you got to be like you just want to show it off. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
you know you made a good video.
Yep.
Is when you're like, I can't wait to show the world this.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you're working on an effect, you're gonna have to redo it a couple of times. You're not gonna get it perfect first time. I do effects so many times, and I'm like, dude, do I just want to try something else? Like, it's
Yeah.
just not working. And I'm like, just keep trying, and I just keep trying to find new ways. And yeah, I mean, it's just tap into your creative mind, and just see where it can take you.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for the word of advice. I think a lot of people can take a lot away from it. With I think a lot in this industry, people obviously can lose themselves really easily, especially when you do start to network and get a little bit of success. You're like, oh, this is working for me. I'll just go with it instead of just sticking to what you want to do. I think especially in content, it's extremely viable and advice. So I want to thank you that
Yeah.
personally. But before we head off here, I also wanted to give you a chance to shout out any like social medias you have, anything you're upcoming and working on, anything you want to shout out about yourself. Just go ahead and do that before we sign off here.
Well, all my socials are the same. They're just at Semtexable on
Mm-hmm.
every platform: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, like all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just at Semtexable. I've got really lucky with my Instagram. The guy just straight gave it to me. I was like, thank God. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I mean, my all my socials are the same. If you guys want to follow me there, I want to try to post more content on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and my YouTube is just basically funny clips of streams.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, my Twitter is just funny clips of streams, and I just, you know, I like to all my opinions are my own on my Twitter really. So, and my YouTube, I want to get started back up again. I just, like I said, kind of in like a state of mind where it's like, what do I want to do
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
videos on there? So, I mean, I want to take content to a new level, and if anybody has any suggestions that they would like to see, like I said, I take every video suggestion into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate all the support from everybody throughout the years. I can't believe I got to where I'm at, but I definitely got a lot farther to go before I can say I'm satisfied.
Yeah, exactly. And for anybody, just because he isn't like kind of a middle stage of his YouTube, like you could spend like a couple weeks easily going back and watching some of the videos he's done. And he's got movie length, like short movie length videos on there, so it's not like just quick clips or anything like that. So definitely check that out. If you're listening to us on Spotify, like he said, at Semtexable, when this video does go live at Samajama TV, my socials, I'll be promoting all his stuff on mine as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, everything he just listed will be in the description below, so you guys can immediately click on that and make it easy. But yeah, man, thank you so much for joining us today, dude. Like, I really appreciate it. Like I said, it's always fun to talk to people on the podcast where the first time I've ever heard their voice is on the podcast.
Yeah.
So it's always a pleasure to be able to do that. And thank you for taking the time. And hopefully people that were listening I know they got something out of it, and hopefully they can take and run with it and help their own projects as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. This was actually my first podcast too, so yeah, I appreciate it. It's an honor, and I'm glad to be here. And I'm really excited to see what people think and see what they can do themselves with the advice I gave, and
Yeah.
see if I can help change careers and lives. Who knows?
Yeah, I know you will. And also, if this is your first podcast, and I'm really jealous because you did 100 times better than I did on my first one. I was bumbling so bad. But yeah, man, thank you so much. And everybody listening to the content workshop, thank you so much. The episodes go live every Sunday. The time differs just based off how everything's going with uploads. However, it is on Sundays. So check us out, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, any podcast service, it's on it. And then it's also on YouTube. If you just type in the content workshop on YouTube, it'll pop up and you guys can watch it there. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys later.